So how do we style our React application? Styling React, there are many ways to style React with CSS. So in this section, we'll take a closer look at inline styling and CSS style sheets. So inline styling, to style an element with inline styling attributes, the value must be a JavaScript object. Remember, we are dealing with JavaScript. So we are dealing with, let's say, HTML in JavaScript and adding CSS to JavaScript. So let's take a look. So let's just, because this is too much of information. So let's write another component. So let's say we have a component and we are going to call this my header. So my header component.js, and inside there I want to have React components. So here, let's say I want to return h1 with, what can I say? Hello. Okay, let's do hello. This is styling in React. Yeah. So to add, if I save this now and I bring in this into my, what's it called, into my app.js, let's say my header. If I save this and I go back here, you see that we have just yet to render. Hello, this is styling. So this is just black, default color. So if I want to change this color to red, how do I do that? Remember, I told us we can do that with, styling and writing it in JavaScript objects. So to style this inline, we are going to say style, and style equals, then the JavaScript object, which is color. I want the color to be red. So if I do this now and I save, let's go back to the home page. Let's see what we have. This is red. So let's stay muted, please. Don't worry, I'll soon call it a day, then we cannot, so we cannot practice. So in JSS, JavaScript expressions are written inside curly brackets, curly braces. And since JavaScript objects are also curly braces, the styling in this example is written inside two sets of curly braces, curly brackets. You can see it. We have the first one. So here we can add some other JavaScript object. Then we have our styling, So it's inside two curly brackets. Then another thing I want to show us is, let's say we want to change the background of this. It is presently white. Let's say we want to make the background to be red or blue or something. In our normal, what was it called? HTML. The way we do that is we can do background color. Background color equals, we can do black, we can do blue. But in React, it has to be camel cased if you are doing inline CSS. So since the inline CSS is a JavaScript object, properties with two names like background color, like what can I say, like inline blocks, like radius, what's it called, border radius, and all those must be written with camel case syntax. So what do I mean? So instead of writing the syntax like this, like background color, you have to write it like this, background color. So let's add that. Let's say we want to add background color to this. So how do I do that? To do that, let's just change this to, so I'll just say background color. Then I want you to be blue. Let's do blue. Background color blue. So if I save this now and we go here, let's see, you see that it has changed. So that is how to add inline styles to JavaScript, to React components. So you can also create an object with styling information and refer to it in the style attributes. So how do you do this? So let's create an object. So inside there, we just say, oops, sorry, oops, no. So inside there, we just say const, let's say, what can we say? My style equals this object, and this object is going to have color white, and let's say we want to have a background color, so I'll do background color, and this background color is going to be blue, and let's do a padding. Yes, let's say we want to add a padding. This padding is going to be 20 pixel. You can also add margin. So let's say margin is going to be, let's imagine top. So margin top is going to be 50 pixel. So for example, then let's say we want to add a font family. I can say font family is going to be Arial. So I can say Arial. So if I want to apply this to um, my element inside my CSS, I will do my star. So I had my star. So this styling is going to get applied to this. So if I save this now, let's see what we have. You see that we have this bold. So I can say the text color is white. I don't want it to be white. Let's say red. If I do this now, refresh, you see this, it has changed. So let me go back to white. So you can add everything. It's just like this is, everything, you are doing everything inside this component. So you can also open your other components, have different styling for this. Other components have different styling for this. So this is one way. The other way is using CSS style sheets. So you can write your CSS styling in a separate file. You just have to save the file with the .css extension and import it into your application. So you can actually do this. The other time we see something when we started our React component, we see some files there. We have app.css, we have index.css, and they have their separate styling here. You see that this is where they start that logo and make it to be animated, to be going round and round and round and round. So if I come back here now and I say, and I import this, so all I have to do is I have to do import. Then what do you want to import? I want to import app.css. So if I do this now and I save, oops, something is wrong. Module cannot be found. App.css. Okay, sorry, I made a mistake with the, what's it called? So if I save this now, let's see what we have. Not found. Why? Imports. So what's wrong? Let's see. So if I do imports, what do we have here? Something is wrong. Okay. We have app.test, app.css. Yeah, this is it. And I save. So if I save now, getting compiled, let's see what we have. It's getting compiled. I don't know why it takes so long, So it's still getting compiled. Something is actually happening. So you can add, let's say I want to have, what was it called? Like I have my header here. Instead of having the styling here, I can just do, my header dot CSS. So inside there, okay, this has compiled. You see that? So I can just do my header.css, and inside there I can define, just like writing my normal code. So I can say I want normal.css code. I want the header class, or let me say my header class, to have this, just like normal CSS. So I can just come here, instead of having the code here, I can just come here, call this. I don't want this again. I want it to be inside its own file. So if I come here now, I can paste this, and in here, so I have to just bring this in. So you can see that we have some errors here. This is .css, and we are using objects. So it is not objects, if you remember. Sorry, it is an object, but the camel casing is wrong. So for normal CSS style, you use dash, and we have margin top here. We have to change that to this. Then font family, we change this to normal font family. And instead of comma, it has to be semicolon. Semicolon, and everything is fine. And I can come into my file here, import that CSS file. I'll just do import my header.css, and here I can say, instead of, I can say class name equals, what is it, my header. So if I copy this now, come here, paste this, and I save this, then we don't need this app.css here. Let's delete it, and I save this now, and I come back here. Let's see. Okay, so it is not getting applied. What could be wrong? If I go back here now, you say class name equals my header, and I save this. What do we have? It's not getting applied. Why? Something is that. Did I save this? Yes, I did. Refresh. Nothing has changed. What could be wrong? So I come here, update this, and class name equals this. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. So I save this now. You see all those small things. You can see that that has changed. Then I can also do something like, what else can we do? So what else can we do? So you can also, import style sheets into your application. For example, let's say you are using React, you are using Bootstrap and all those. So how do you do that? If you go to the Bootstrap, if you go to the Bootstrap documentation, there should be a way, if you do Bootstrap, there is one. Okay, let me use Bootstrap. I actually have one, what was it called, that I'm using presently, which is Material UI, but we can actually use Bootstrap too. So how do you bring in Bootstrap into your application? So you can just go to the Bootstrap, React Bootstrap, then click on Getting Started, and it's going to give you the instructions like you have to install this. So you are going to run npm install React Bootstrap. So once you install that, if you want to bring in the button, you import the button, then you use the button. So it's something you can go through the documentation, because time is not on our side. Then you can actually add this to your project, and you can be styling your project as if you are styling the normal HTML, what was it called, projects. So that is that from me for today. I hope you've learned one or two things about React applications and how to build React. And there's one thing I want to show you before we go. We've written a lot of what was it called? A lot of components. You can actually bring everything in. So let's say I want to have different pages. For example, I want to have home page. I can actually have a different folder here. You can, it's just a way for me to have my pages in different, or my projects in a well-structured manner. So I can do, this is going to be the home page. I can say home page or home.js, and inside there I can do React CC, and it's going to give me this. And here I want to import, I want my home page to have car, football, and footer. So I can just come here, I can import car from car, import car from go out from components /car, And also, I want the football to be here too. I can do, let me just copy this just to save time. So I can do, then I can do import football from component football. Then what else can we bring in? Let's bring in the footer. So if I want to use the footer here too, I don't have to be rewriting the code. So I can say bring in footer. So bring in footer from footer. Oops. No. So I can say bring in footer. Then here I can add all the components. Like I want my car component. Please let's mute ourselves, please. So I can bring in my car components. I can bring in the football. I can bring in the football and I can bring in the footer. So if I do this now, so let's say I want to have another page. So if I do this now, let's bring in the footer. So if I need to have another page, like about us page, so what do? I can just go to my about us page and bring in those components again. So that means I don't have to be rewriting. So if I do about us page, I can just come here, rewrite my, let me just copy this because I don't want to be rewriting. So we just have to change some. So we don't need football, we don't need car. What we need is we need garage. So let me just, we need garage. What else do we need? The header, we need the header, we don't need football. The header. What else do we need? Oops. We don't need football. Let's let that. Header. Oh no. No. Football. We need header. What else do we need? We have footer. So you can see I can reuse this component in many pages. So let's say I want header. I want my own page to have, the header function. I can just come here, import header from header components slash header. Oops. Slash header. Then I can just come here and add my header. So let's say I want to use the header in that about us page. What do? I go there, I copy this, then go to my about us, instead of rewriting the code, it makes everything cleaner. So this is one of the beauty of React. So I think I have to stop here for today. And I hope you've learned one or two things. So you can just go out there, start your application in React, React makes life beautiful. So you can also use React to build applications for mobile. So once you understand this concept, if you want to go into React Native, you don't have to learn something new, nothing new. What you are going to learn is, something similar to this, just some little tweaks. So you can use React. If you understand React, you can, let's have a peep into how the React Native code look like. So if I go to, let's see one of these codes and let's see what, so React Native, or let's go to all and let's see how the code looks like. So if I go into React Native documentation and you check, I have someone here with the charts. Okay, can we add the codes used in class today? Because this is a lot. What is the difference between class component and functional component? How true is the fact that functional component is the future of React? Actually, I won't say much about how true is it that functional component is the future of React. But the thing is, personally, for the past, I think this year, I've never used class components. I've been using functional components. So functional components is the future of React. I think the developers, the React developers can justify that. Though it makes your, using functional components makes your code simpler, it makes it easier to read, and it makes it very, very simple. And they also have a lot of hooks introduced that you can actually use, So before we go into that, I just want to show us, if you want to build you know, native applications for React, for Android and iOS using React. You know, you look at the code. It's very, very simple. Everything we've been doing. So we have header, we have heading and all those. So it's still the same syntax that you are following. Nothing too serious. Nothing too serious. And you can go to their website. They have a beautiful documentation whereby you can read more about the React and how to get started and some other components and how to go about that. Even if you go through their, I think, what was it called? Let's see, their main concept, hello world. If you go through this, they are still using class components to introduce people to that. But trust me, functional component is actually the the future of React. I can say that because for me, it makes life beautiful for me. For me. So don't worry, this is just beyond the scope of this course. Time is not on our side. Then we can read a lot about functional components. Let's see if we have. Okay, yeah. So you can see function versus class components. So you can see more about this on their documentation, then you can read more about this. So I think that is all from me for today. So see you some other time. Thanks for coming to the class. If we have any question, we can ask in the Discord community. Then, we'll do justice to that. So thank you for your time. Thank you for hanging in there, and thank you for learning more about, new techs. So if you have any question, mentoring, advice, support, and anything, I'm always available at any time. So thank you. Take care. I don't want to accept more questions. I'm late already. I have another meeting now. Okay, you're welcome. So take care.